Welcome to Stars, Stripes, and Stirrups, Healing with Horses Ranch, first ever live stream fundraising event. Tonight we are joined by special guest Mae Potter, Miss Veteran America 2016, and Senior Airman Aimee Moore. Be sure to get your chance to win this Honda EX250 ATV and 2 passes to weekend 2 of ACL Fest. Stay tuned for giveaways, equine games, and more. Special thanks to C3 Presents for sponsoring the ACL Weekend 2 passes. Now for our featured broadcast, Stars, Stripes, and Stirrups.
Yeah. Hi, I'm John DeAndre. I'm the Executive Director here at Healing with Horses Ranch. I'm here with Angel, and I want to welcome you to our first ever live streaming fundraising event. So as our first ever event, please bear with us if we have some technical difficulties. Our goal over the next couple hours is to entertain, is to introduce you to some information about what we do, about our riders, about our horses. We have some amazing guest speakers and panelists, and ultimately we hope to entice you to go to our website and maybe donate some money or buy a raffle ticket to win this ATV so that we can continue to do what we do here at the ranch. My job here at the beginning is to introduce the ranch to folks that may be new to us. So I'm going to take a moment here and just give some background. Then I'm going to turn it over to our development director, Ariana, who will give you more details about today's events. So let's get started. Healing with Horses Ranch is a therapeutic horseback riding center. What that means in most basic terms is we give horseback riding lessons to folks with special needs. Our clients range in age from 4 to 74, and they're dealing with challenges like cerebral palsy, Down syndrome, autism. They may be an at-risk youth, maybe an early teen struggling at home or at school. They may be dealing with post-traumatic stress, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's. We even have riders recovering from stroke. And although I say the goal of our program is to be to train people on how to ride a horse, it's obvious so much more. There's the obvious benefit, a physical benefit of riding a horse, but there's also the emotional, spiritual, and life lesson benefit associated with caring for and bonding with a large animal. We started our program in 2012. At that time, we had 3 horses, 3 clients. Patty, my wife, our program director and founder, was our only volunteer instructor, and a handful of dedicated volunteers. I am amazed at how far we've come in 8 years. Earlier this year, we were providing lessons to almost 120 clients each week. We have a herd of 20 horses, and I guess to be more technically accurate, I should say 20 equine, since that includes 1 donkey, my favorite, Sweet Pea. We have a staff of 15, primarily certified therapeutic riding instructors, equine specialists, and mental health professionals. And probably most significantly, we've had thousands of individuals volunteer here at the ranch over the last 8 years. Everything here is done by volunteers. Every lesson has as many as 3 volunteers in it. Horses are fed day and night by volunteers. Stalls are cleaned. The facility is maintained. It really is a volunteer-run organization. Now, the hardest thing for me to talk about is the fact that we are truly a nonprofit. Although we charge fees for our services, those fees cover less than 30% of our operating cost. We live in the space of fundraising, grants, and donations, which brings me back to today's event. Although I say we charge fees for our services, veterans have always and will always ride here for free. So we need your help in making sure that we can continue to offer these services to veterans. So please, if you find it in your heart to go to our website and make a donation or buy a raffle ticket, that would be tremendous. So with that, I'd like to turn this over to Ariana, our development director, to give you more information about where we're going today.
So you're going to have to excuse some of the wiping down. Like John previously said, I am Ariana Roman. I am the development director here at Healing with Horses Ranch. As you can tell, it's just staff here and some choice volunteers that have offered to help us out today. And we are doing our best during these times, as I'm sure you and your family are doing your best during these times. So as we continue to innovate and make sure our services are still available despite the new pressures from COVID-19, we need your help now more than ever. So like John said earlier, our veterans ride free here at this ranch, and that's our way to give back to them, especially at this time when many veterans are actively deployed, working and fighting against the COVID-19 pandemic. So we want all of the veterans that are working here at home to keep us safe from this virus. We want to thank all the veterans that are watching today that have kept us safe for years and years and years. We want to thank all the veterans that are currently active duty that are keeping us safe right now. And we want to thank all the veterans, whoever you may be, for supporting other veterans in their journey in protecting us and being pillars of their community. So we'll talk about that more later today in our broadcast, but I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart from this ranch. We really appreciate you. Next, if you are or a veteran that wants to support other veterans, I want you to take a look at this gorgeous 2006 Honda EX250 ATV. I have to slow down when I say that because I'm a horse girl and I do not care about this ATV. But I'm hoping you care about this ATV because this is part of our raffle package. This, along with 2 passes to ACL Music Festival Weekend 2, sponsored by C3 Presents. So you could win this Honda ATV, 2 passes to ACL Weekend 2, sponsored by C3 Presents, just by buying a raffle ticket. 1 ticket is $25, or you could be a big spender, really help out the ranch, and give us $100, we'll give you 5 tickets. That's only $20 a ticket. All right, we are going to sell at minimum 800 of these tickets, at maximum 1,000 of these tickets. So go to our website at www.healingwithhorsesranch.org/raffle. We'll put that in the comments below so you can have an easy access to www.healingwithhorsesranch.org/raffle. Get your raffle tickets. We'll be making raffle ticket announcements throughout this broadcast. Finally, we're doing some giveaways. So inside these Healing with Horses Ranch koozies, sponsored by Ranger Cattle, we will be giving out a $25 Kirby Lane gift card in each of these koozies. So be somebody that comments on this video live. Just go below this video, send us a comment. We'd love to hear from you. You could be a winner of a $25 Kirby Lane gift card. In those comments, we're going to be taking questions that people have for our speakers, Aimee Moore, Mae Potter, and our veterans panel. So if you have a burning question about Healing with Horses Ranch services, if you have a burning question about being a veteran, if you have a burning question that you need answered, put it in the comments and we might ask one of our speakers that question. So we look forward to seeing your comments. I'll be replying to you guys live from the booth. So I am going to turn us over to our very first game. We are going to play a horse game called I Wear Many Hats. The inspiration behind this game is that veterans, especially the veterans that we have met through our program, wear many hats. Not only are they veterans, but they have careers outside of the military, especially our Army and Air Force Reserves and Navy Reserves. And so we really want to thank them for not only being the veterans they are, but also the pillars of their community. So our wonderful PATH International therapeutic riding instructors have partnered with some of their favorite horses, and they will be playing a game called I Wear Many Hats. All right, let's see how this game's going to be played.
For the I Wear Many Hats competition, we're going to see Healing with Horses Ranch instructors ride Healing with Horses Ranch horses in a race competition. Riders will run down to the end of the arena, pick up a hat, go around the barrel, and return to the start-finish line. The rider that can bring the most hats will be the winner.
Hi, welcome. I'm Patty DeAndre. I am the founder of Healing with Horses Ranch and now the program director. Welcome to our first ever live YouTube video streaming fundraising event. I wanted to introduce to you some of our PATH International instructors and some of our horses. Like John said, we have 20 amazing equine that work hard every day. We're in a really strange time. I miss all of our riders, but our veterans program is still going because we've started a tele-equine facilitated learning service. So we've been talking on the phone, and we're starting to come back and see some people that we can work with without with being able to be socially distant and appropriate at wearing masks and cleaning and all of that. But we're going to pan over to the horses and introduce everybody. So we have Alexa on Dawn. Alexa Ball started volunteering here in 2016. She is a PATH International instructor. She became one after being mentored here in August of 2017. Usually you'll find her in a stall with one of the horses or laying on the ground, quite literally with the dogs. She is riding on Dawn. Dawn is a 19-year-old registered Morgan horse. She was my horse, I'm not going to lie, and I will take ownership for the fact that she is very spoiled. She thinks that her job should be to look pretty and eat grass, and this riding stuff is for the birds. I got the honor of watching her being born 19 years ago, so it's kind of cool. Next up, we have Cameron Davis on Bailey. This was a little schedule change because it rained last night, and our horses are across the creek, merrily eating grass, saying, ha, 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 ha. She was supposed to ride Peach, but she is on Bailey. Bailey is our princess pony. There you go, the princess wave and everything. Hi, Bailey. She is Cameron has been an instructor here since November of 2017, but she started as an intern back in January, I believe, of 2016, where she completed her master's in family and child studies. Bailey is a gypsy banner. She is, let me see, again, schedule change. She's a 12-year-old gypsy banner. She wants everybody to see her beautiful feathers that everybody here wants me to cut off, but I swear they're going to get fired if they cut them off. So that's Bailey. She has itchy feet. She has recovered from a horrible condition called canker, but she still has itchy feet sometimes. And then last up, we have Joe Villa. Davila, I should say. Jo is working on her PhD. She has been an instructor here since May 2018, although she has also been volunteering here since 2016. He's riding on CJ. He's a registered quarter horse. He is 16 years old and is our newest hire. He came in 2019. He won us over by his gorgeous looks and his silly personality. He's quite feisty, and he loves to be in your pocket. And then last up, I should say, we have what's your name? Lauren Higgins. Being names, you know that about me. Lauren is our volunteer coordinator. She is an official horse girl. Nobody's going to shout it. Come on, guys. Horse girl. Thank you. Oh, and she is riding on Patricia. This, I should say, is our newest horse because I didn't know her name even. Lauren is acting as our arena rodeo clown so that she can help gather up hats as our riders drop them. So I want to remind you that we're playing I Wear Many Hats. The riders are going to start down at the end with the buckets. They are going to race down to the end to grab one hat and race it back down to throw it in the bucket. The goal is to get all of the hats into the buckets. And I want to remind you that stay safe. So, are you guys ready to go? Everybody get lined up at their spots. I don't know, does anyone out there have any predictions on who's going to be the quickest? Oh, buy a raffle ticket. Okay, on your mark. We're taking some unfair advantage there, I think, Alexa. On your mark, get set, go. So, John is at a trot. We're working on communicating with our horses to be able to walk, trot, canter, stop when we ask them to so that we can gather up a hat. And Jo is in the lead right now on CJ, but I think CJ wants to play fair and keep everybody together. He's so nice. Bailey wants to show off her flowing mane. She might want to wear a hat herself, I'm not sure. So, as you recall, our veterans are wearing many hats, and so it gets challenging, especially when you have to work on communicating with other people as you're wearing those hats, especially when you're trying to keep people safe, when that's what you've been trained to do. But sometimes more about communicating what your needs are to get them met. Gypsy, I don't know if you can tell, but she has quite the bouncy trot. And so Cameron gets to have fun trying to sit that trot. And Dawn is being a beautiful prancing princess. I'm very proud of you, Dawn. We dropped a hat, rodeo clown, hat down. And she's galloping. Pay attention to distancing around the other horses. Don't get too close.
Dawn is taking the command.
Yep, Dawn is taking the command lead here. She is staying focused, staying calm. Very proud of you, Dawn. Dawn started out certainly as trained as you can be when you get trained to be ridden, once every 2 or 3 weeks when you're being started out. So again, I take credit in her training or lack of. But she was very off balance when she was started out here. So cantering is still a little bit of a challenge for her, but she is really starting to use her back and her body when she goes into that trot. DJ I'm super proud of because he has been quite challenged. This is a difficult job for horses because they have a lot of different people working with them every day, communicating a little bit differently, just like we all do. But it's important for them to stay calm and love their job. And CJ is challenged right now because as the newest member of the herd, it's hard to work with a lot of different people and a lot of different energies. And he is learning that he can get away with stuff. But right now, he's just being the true gentleman. I'm so proud of him. Bailey typically hates being in the arena. This is boring. But I don't think it's so boring now. She's having a little bit of fun doing this, and which is great for her. I'd love to see her having fun. Oh, CJ's going to get to wear one of the hats. So one of the things that you got to remember as you're doing this, that this is what were the rules? The rules were to get all of the horses down into the bucket. So you're allowed to ask for help. There is nothing that said that you can't help each other. So I'm hoping that our riders will say, hey, I can help you out. Let me take some weight off of you. We so often get stuck into our little boxes of this is what we're supposed to do, and we forget in that competition that we can help each other. Cameron's commenting back there about her Bailey's fancy pony prance. And she's getting it. I'm super proud of her too. We didn't know when we got her donated what riding experience she actually had. And so my comment to you guys is, who was the winner? Oh, Alexa was the winner? Or were you all winners because you got all of the hats down and accomplished the goal of getting the hats into the bucket? Okay, are you ready? I have heard Lauren say she'd like a victory lap. Follow Lauren. Hopefully CJ won't try and eat her as he catches up to her. He might. And there they are. They're off. Patricia in a fine canter. You might need to speed up just a little bit. Whoa! Oh, oh. Yeah, we have to stay focused, huh? Good girl. Okay. Again, I wanted to remind you guys that we're doing all of this and we're having fun. We're reminding you of why we have this veterans program. But I also want to remind you that this is a fundraiser, and it's the hardest thing for me to do is to ask for help, but I am asking for help. Our veterans ride for free. I'm very proud of that, and that will always happen. I want to continue that. But horses and this therapeutic riding business is very expensive. So buy a raffle ticket, have fun, help us. It's an amazing prize package, and I will put it in the horses' terms. So every raffle ticket you buy buys a bag of food, and every pack of 5 that you buy a round bale. And we go through a bag of feed every day and a round bale every 2 days. So please help us out. And thank you so much.
What's next?
Now we have our
Turn the
giveaway.
mic on.
Now we have our giveaway. Now you can hear me. All right, one lucky commenter is going to receive that $25 Kirby Lane gift card. All right, let's take a look at the comments. Who do we got on the comments? All right, magic number. I think Daniel Cox is our winner. I will put it down in the comments. Daniel Cox, congratulations. You have won a $25 Kirby Lane gift card for commenting on this video. Remember, we have a second giveaway coming up later in this broadcast. So stay tuned, keep commenting. And I'm going to pass this mic over to Davina to talk to you guys about our raffle.
All right, so this is new for me. I'm Davina Merkel. I happen to be privileged enough to be a member out here. 43 acres of amazing ranch life, and John already talked to you guys about our equine. We have sold 245 raffle tickets so far, so very exciting. Thank you guys. What else do we have?
That's good.
Well, there we go.
What am I doing next? Patty's actually here. Let's hold on. Miss Patricia, we need you at the microphone to do an introduction. Patty, we need you at the microphone.
Patty decided that she's going to do some moving of obstacles.
Out of sequence.
We're good? Hi, everybody again. I'm so glad that you've joined us for our YouTube video fundraiser. We have Aimee Moore on as one of our guest speakers, and I just wanted to spend a minute to introduce Aimee to everybody. Aimee came out to the ranch one day, just driving to the driveway, and started talking to me, and she asked me what we were doing here, and I told her about what we did at the ranch and how horses help us and how they help us stay focused, they help us gain confidence. The really cool thing about horses is they need from us honesty and congruence. We need our insides to match our outsides in order for them to feel safe. And they don't judge us, which is so cool in this day, especially when you've had trauma, that people don't see your injuries, how they don't judge us. We're okay just the way we are. So Aimee, that got Aimee crying, and I was a little surprised by that, but that's okay. And I said, you need to come out here and start volunteering. And sure enough, she soon came out for one of our volunteer trainings. We have become friends. As she volunteered out here, she started to gain her confidence. She started laughing again, which, as she was sharing her story, she didn't do a whole lot of laughing. And shortly after that, she started to get her dreams back, and she decided to join the Air Force Reserves. So she is now well on her way of achieving her goal of becoming a doctor. She is an Air Force medic and warrior. She's going to start school in the fall to start that career as a doctor. And so I'd like to introduce Aimee Moore. She is a senior airman, Aimee Moore, and I want to thank her personally. Thank you, Aimee, for coming out and sharing your story with us. Should I talk more?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Senior Airman Aimee Moore. It is an honor to be able to speak to you about the Veterans Program at Healing with Horses Ranch. As many of us are at home with our families during this unparalleled time, I would like to welcome you to my home that I share with my young son and our new puppy. I'm specifically choosing to minimize parts of my story so audiences of all ages can listen. However, the struggles and emotional burdens still carried by myself and other victims are not minimized. If you or anyone you know sharing similar experiences, please do not be afraid to reach out to any member of Healing with Horses Ranch or myself. We are here for you, and so are the horses. I'm a medic in the United States Air Force Reserve, and I've been a volunteer and student at Healing with Horses Ranch for over 3 years. I've participated in the 10-week Veterans Program, and this afternoon, I'm going to share how Healing with Horses Ranch is mission essential. During this pandemic, mission essential has been a commonly used term to define businesses and personnel whose services are essential to the community. While Healing with Horses Ranch was deemed an essential operation, the staff struggled with deciding if the services offered to the over 75 weekly students and more than 150 volunteers were necessary to continue. The reason I'm able to speak to you candidly today is because the physical, mental, and emotional support I've received from the ranch is mission essential to my life. Your generous donations this afternoon ensure that key resources and services can remain ongoing for our veterans and service members who may be in need of additional support. I found Healing with Horses Ranch at the darkest period in my life. I was in the middle of a contentious 21-month divorce that ripped me from my son and my home in a matter of days, when I became the victim of an assault that has scarred me physically and emotionally. 8 weeks later, repercussions of the assault left me choosing to make a difficult decision, a heavy burden I will carry with me for the rest of my life. This was my personal breaking point, and I turned to the ranch for help. When I arrived, I could barely talk or make eye contact, shut down from the depression and post-traumatic stress. I vividly remember Patty asking me what brought me to the ranch, and I stumbled to say that I was a victim. Over the next several months, I spent countless hours and days at the ranch, disconnecting from the horrific version of reality my mind had created, forcing my body to exhaustion just so I could sleep at night without fears of horrifying reenactments and flashbacks. Unknowingly at the time, the ranch was mission essential to my mental and emotional recovery from those horrific experiences. Over the next few months, I rode the emotional roller coaster of post-traumatic stress. Every peak and valley, the horses were there to guide me and comfort me. As I began to climb out of the darkness of depression, anxiety, and dissociative episodes, another challenge was waiting for me on the horizon. In June of 2018, I suffered a minor stroke, leaving me physically and cognitively disabled. I was unable to balance and walk, lost to assess my body's positioning and movements, lost the ability to assess depth accurately, and suffered many other vision abnormalities. During my 3 months of rehabilitation, I challenged my mind and body in physical therapy, as well as during my weekly trips to the ranch. Grooming the horses helped me work on hand-eye coordination. Walking around the uneven terrain helped me work on stability and balance. Connecting with the horses kept me emotionally present and gave me the motivation to work even harder so that one day I could get back in the saddle. During this period in my life, the ranch was mission essential to my physical recovery, in addition to the support I had previously received. In April of 2019, I set off to basic military training and then subsequently on to tech school. I was physically, mentally, and emotionally prepared for the journey I was embarking on, and a large part of the preparation is credited to the work I had done at the ranch in the years prior. After 8 months of being away from home and my son, the transition back to civilian life was much more difficult than I expected. My wingmen were suddenly spread out over the country, as the military has a way of helping you find your best friends and then tearing you apart. The rigid structure I had become used to on base was now gone, and replicating that in the civilian world is nearly impossible. The camaraderie in the military is unwavering, and suddenly I was back home and alone. Most of all, my explicit purpose and mission were gone. For weeks after returning home, I struggled with reintegration. Parenting and reconnecting with my son were challenging for me. And while I was not deployed in a combat zone or put my life on the front line as many here have, I was experiencing the period of transition that many service members experiencing when returning to civilian life or back home from a deployment. I leaned on the services at the ranch to prioritize my reintegration as mission essential. Included in this reintegration was the 10-week Veterans Helping Veterans program, which afforded me the opportunity to connect with other service members and veterans who share in similar experiences and struggles. Each week, this group is tasked with missions ranging from groundwork between handler and horse to trail rides through the 40-plus acres of the ranch. These lessons became more than just simple tasks, but a way to improve communication skills, patience, trust, confidence, and resiliency while providing purpose that I had not felt since last putting on my uniform. The lessons also gave me one-on-one time with horses where I could take a moment to pause from the chaos of life to check in with myself. There were times I shared in joyous moments, and there were times where all I needed was to wrap my arms around a horse and cry. This program became my safe zone, free from judgment, and open to speak honestly about the struggles I was experiencing from returning home. I consider Healing with Horses Ranch and the Veterans Program mission essential to any and every service member and veteran in need of support. While this program is of no cost to veterans and active duty service members, there are large costs associated, and this is where I am asking you for help. Your generous donations this afternoon ensure that veterans can continue to receive the multitude of benefits this program provides. Your contributions are mission essential to the success of this program and the success of our veterans. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon. I sincerely hope that you and your family are doing well and are safe at home. Okay, so it says, thank you, Amy. I would like to ask you who your favorite horse is and do they love you? As many people at the ranch know, my favorite horse is Bo. Who's your favorite horse?
Oreo.
And do you think Oreo loves you? You don't know? So I think that Bo loves me only if I love me. So I found in my experiences at the ranch that the horses are a mirror for how I'm feeling. So if I'm anxious, my horse will be anxious. If I love myself, Bo will love me. So that's how I feel about Bo. Do you think Oreo loves you? For sure. She's asking the questions and then we'll answer them. What is it like to be a mom, a veteran in the reserve, and have a career? It is a challenge for sure. As the game earlier showed, we do wear many hats. I wear the hat of mom. I do wear the hat as a reservist, and then also I do have my civilian career. I wouldn't trade it for the world. I wouldn't give it up. I absolutely love it. But it is very difficult and very challenging to balance everything and to succeed at everything. Thankfully, I have many support resources, including the ranch, as well as my military unit. And without those, I would not be successful. Yeah, Ariana's asking the questions, and then I'm reading them, and then we're answering. What can businesses and other supporters do to support veterans like you? Donate, 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 donate. We absolutely need your assistance and we need your resources. If it's not financial, we can use other resources that you or your business might have to be able to help us out. We absolutely appreciate everything that anyone donates to us, and we can't say thank you enough. So that is absolutely what we need. Donate, donate, donate. Time, services, anything. We would really appreciate it. Oh, Billy's sleeping. Okay, sorry. I'll try to be quiet. Thank you all very much. Bye. Stay safe at home. Say bye.
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 Yep. Go ahead, Patty, whenever you're ready. Okay. Okay. Next in the arena, we're going to do an obstacle course called Dreamwork Makes the Dream. Dreamwork makes the team work.
And Ranger is trying to help us out and knock the camera over.
Why don't you start over? Just audio didn't.
Okay, next in the arena, we're going to do an the dream work. Yeah, that's right. I said it right, right?
Do it again, 4 times.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Right? Not dream work makes the.
Right, that's what I said. Pretty sure.
Happy with you.
Thanks.
As your dog unplugged the camera.
Yeah, my Ranger's helping out here and trying to knock over the camera and everything. The object of this game is to get me a drink of water, because we all know that everything's about Patty, right? That's a lie. It's not really. But everybody here does take care of me, and which I very much appreciate. What we're hoping to do is be able to do this at Liberty, which is kind of hard because we got energy going up and nervousness because we're being videotaped and all of that. But at Liberty work is truly a method of working with your horse as if you're, as a partner, as if you are out in the field with them being a herd member. And that is really the concept of at Liberty work. And in the arena, we're going to have, oh, we're not quite ready to start yet, sorry. We have to do a little announcement. I want to, again, oh, we're going to show you the pattern, okay.
All right, let's look at the pattern that our competitors will have to compete in. First, they will cross the bridge. The bridge is constructed with 2 cavalettis and a wooden floor. Next, they move to the remove pole obstacle. They will have to take a pool noodle and bring it to the next obstacle, replace pole. Add that pool noodle to that bucket. Next, we have the L chute, which people will walk through, stop, and back their horse out. Finally, we go to the figure 8. As it sounds, they're going to make a figure 8 to the water pitcher. The water pitcher is where they'll pick up and pour themselves a glass of water and carry it to the final obstacle, the jump. Let's see if everybody can complete the obstacle and see how fast they can do it.
Back, just a real quick update. We are at 200 raffle tickets sold. Thank you all so very much. Please remember to head to www.healingwithhorsesranch.org/raffle to purchase your tickets. Now I'm going to turn it back over to Patty.
Okay, so in the arena, we have Lauren Higgins. Lauren is our volunteer coordinator. She is no longer the arena rodeo clown. And instead of Patricia, she has Levi, who is quite playful. He is a little bit bigger than Patricia. Lauren is going to go ahead and start the obstacle course. Our hope is that she has built a good enough relationship with Levi that he will join her. It's sometimes called joining up. And remembering that there's a lot of obstacles in life, and how do we navigate them? Can we do it with a partner? Can we communicate clearly our needs? So what she has right now is what we lovingly call our magic wand. And the goal is never to frighten our horses or use it on the horses, but to use it as an extension of our hands and arms, because as you can see, Levi thinks that he's a miniature horse. So Lauren, you can go ahead and start navigating. I'm going to talk about you though while you're navigating. Lauren has been a volunteer since April of 2016. She was hired in 2019 as our volunteer coordinator. So if you ever think about wanting to volunteer, Lauren's your girl. She is our official horse girl. Nobody will yell horse girl again, but that's okay. She has been working with horses pretty much her whole life. She's working on building a relationship with Levi. And Levi is our 14-year-old Pertron. He is a gentle giant. He is quite playful. He thinks that he's a miniature horse. I didn't write when he came to us, but we've owned him for about 3 years. He was donated with Sweet Pea, John's favorite. And Sweet Pea is our donkey. So one of the things that some of the visuals of our obstacles are our bridges that we have to cross. There are batons that we have to juggle. Sometimes there are L's in the road. And what I'm going to really kind of be asking Lauren as she's going through this is, does she trust that Levi will follow her? Has she communicated clearly? And so far, the answer is absolutely yes. I will say that when you have to go backwards in life, it happens. This is kind of challenging. This is a big trust obstacle because Levi, as big as he is, doesn't realize where his feet are all of the time, and he might step on one of those poles. Can Lauren tell him that she's going to keep him safe, that she's going to guide him the way where he needs to go? As she's being watched by so many, the stress goes up. Am I doing it right? Is he going to listen to me? Can I take a deep breath and listen to my horse and tell him it's okay? She's using her words. She's using her arms. Out in the pasture, like I said, at Liberty work is often how horses communicate with each other out in the field. And you will see a horse nodding his head, pointing where he wants the other horses to go. So this truly is, as she's moving her energy, because Levi is one of the heads of the herds. So does he have to listen to her? Well, no. He's not sure sometimes. Going backwards in this trust obstacle, it's very difficult, and that's okay. He might say, I know a way to do it better, dum-dum. And he probably does. And you turn around and just do it. Nice job. Good boy, Levi. Nice job, Lauren. There's paths that we have to weave our way through. We're doing a figure 8 around the cones. All just to get me a drink of water. But sometimes life is a lot harder than just getting somebody a drink of water. But though Levi isn't side by side with Lauren, if you notice out in the field, horses aren't typically walking side by side. One is following, one's the leader. Are you a leader because you're calm and confident and give good directions, or are you a leader because you make people fearful and they want to do it because they're afraid of you? We want to be a partner with them and be a leader where he says, okay, I'll go wherever you want to go because I trust you. You're going to take care of me. You did a really nice job going around that barrel, not knocking over the pitcher of water. Oh, I don't know if you noticed back there, there's your logo here if you want to be a sponsor for Healing with Horses Ranch, because remember, this is a fundraiser. As much as we want to have fun, there's hurdles that we have to jump over. Levi's not much on jumping, but he might knock it over and step over it. Yay, Levi, good boy. Are you going to trot to me? I'll be shocked if he trots, by the way. Whoop, there he goes. so proud of you. Hey, don't drink my water. It's for me. Thank you, Levi. Thank you so much. And buy those raffle tickets because I like hay. That's what Levi just said to everybody. Good job, Levi. Good job, Lauren. Thank you so much, Lauren. Oh, if only we had taught him how to bow. Next in the arena, we have Davina Merkel. Davina Merkel, you've seen so far today. She is our finance manager. She has been a part of the Healing with Horses Ranch family since 2014. That's a long time, and that makes me want to cry a little bit, I'm not going to lie. She started working here in 2015, shortly after she and her daughter, who's working in the background here, Crystal Merkel, who is one of our Path International instructors, donated one of their horses, Dude, to Healing with Horses Ranch. There she is. They both started in 2015. But so Davina is working with Holly. Holly is our oldest horse, and if you want, Davina, you can go ahead and start, and I'll talk about you. So Holly, Davina, like I said, is our finance manager. If there's any questions with billing, if you want to make more donations, they'll go through Davina. So thank you so much. Holly is our oldest horse. She is 33 years old. She and her daughter, Dawn, who I witnessed being born, have been here since the inception. So since January 1st, 2012, that's when I have officially donated both of them to Healing with Horses Ranch. She is now at least partially blind. So this is a huge trust event for her. But she can smell, she can hear. So Davina's out there talking to her, telling her where to go with her voice. We don't need to be hanging on our horses and pulling them through. We don't need to be hanging on each other and pulling us through our life events. We need to be moving forward, trusting that the people that are around you are going to help keep you safe. Holly is a registered Morgan horse. She was also the 2011 Morgan Horse of the Year. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I've owned being around, and I've been around Holly for the past 25 years, so often when she hears my voice, she wants to come towards me. So that was a really tough challenge there. But I'm going to challenge Davina. Is she going to follow you? Is she going to, are you communicating well enough? Does she trust you? Backing up is very hard for Holly because she has very little muscle tone these days as she's getting older. She's no longer ridden, but we do work with her on the ground with some of our students that just need to be with a horse. Not gonna lie, Holly is the sweetest horse on the face of the earth. I bred her because of her personality, not because of her conformation, how she's put together. I was hoping to get another horse just like Holly. I didn't get that, but that's okay. I love Dawn just as the same. So backing up is a real challenge to Holly. But she's still doing a great job, just loving people. She is so demonstrative. I'll let her show you when they're all done how she loves being scratched, how she will turn around and just love you right back, or giving her that attention. So you'll notice that we do have a halter and a lead rope on, but Davina is completely hands off of that. So she is just
walking and trusting that Holly is going to be with her. And Holly wants to be with her. Horses are herd animals. That's one of the reasons they are so great in this therapeutic riding, equine facilitated activities world, because they're so big. The visuals are hard to miss sometimes, but they're also very quiet. They are prey animals, and so they want to hide when they're in pain. So you won't see too often when Holly's in pain or when she's scared, because that makes her weak. And Davina has opted not to go over the jump, not because she can't and not because Holly won't, but because she's opted to take care of Holly and not ask her to pick up her legs so high, because it would be hard for Holly. So thank you for taking care of Holly. And that's one of my big coaches, and one of my big asks is that you take care of the horses. Thank you. Thank you, Holly. You want to say hi? You want to say hi? Yeah, you might see her react because she's going to see a microphone coming into her space and she doesn't understand what it is and she can't see it. That was a, what the heck is that? She can hear me, but when it's when you, Davina's asking if it's a hearing. She would go towards the sound. It's when something suddenly goes into her line of vision. She says, "What is that? I can't see it." So their nose, their face is very sensitive, and they need to protect that. So you can see how Holly will turn and say thank you to Davina for loving on her and petting her. So Holly is probably one of the best at the EFP, and especially when you need something. But I will also say, if you need something, need them. Isn't that a heavy load to burden on those that you love? And so need to work on how to take care of ourselves as well. Thank you, Holly. Thank you, Davina.
So you have me again. Can you see me okay there, Ari? Good. I have the honor of introducing our next speaker, Mae Potter. Many of you may know her as Ms. Veteran America 2016. I have the privilege of knowing her also as a colleague and a friend. As some of you may know, I worked at Dell for a lot of years, and I can honestly say that one of my best days at Dell was the day that I had the opportunity to hire Mae and help her transition from her military career into her corporate career at Dell. Molly came with an amazing resume even at that time. There was the obvious technical background, the degree, the years of Air Force experience as a test director, having served and been injured overseas. Very, very impressive background. But honestly, what impressed me most on Molly Mae's resume at that time was the personal aspects. She was already an advocate for veterans and service animals. And if I remember correctly, she had listed on her resume that she was a long distance runner, and her goal was to run on every continent before she turned 30. And I believe she achieved that goal the day before her 30th birthday when she stepped on Antarctica. So what amazing background. Since that time, she continues to have an amazing career at Dell. She continues to be an advocate for veterans, for service animals. She was Miss Veterans America, and probably her most significant accomplishment in the last few years is she became a mom. So please join me in welcoming Pepper Ann's amazing mom, Mae Potter.
Hey, can you all hear me? Great. Hi. So, John, thanks for the intro, and everyone, thank you so much for having me and to speak. So, another little tidbit that I don't know if John knew, but I was really struggling to find a job when I got out of the military. The accolades may have been there, but someone taking the leap of faith to help me transition to my civilian life with a service animal by my side, that was something that was very difficult in 2014 timeframe. Not many people were doing that. And so John and Patty, thank you for bringing me here to the Austin area to help transition a veteran's life. And you'll hear a little bit more about that in my story today. So again, thank you. And it's an honor and a privilege to be a part of this event today. Even though we're virtual, this is pretty awesome. This is my first virtual speaking event, so I'm honored that it is with Healing with Horses Ranch. So thank you. So today I want to talk to you about something that I feel like only veterans on this call may really relate to. And if you're not a veteran and you cannot currently relate, then maybe you'll gain a new understanding on a perspective that only a few in this country really and truly grasp. If you don't understand it, if you don't get it, or you don't think it matters, I don't really care. Today we're celebrating Armed Forces Day and veterans that have healed from trauma. And I'm going to share with you something that is deeply personal to me as a veteran with a voice. And that's all I care about right now, right here, sitting before you on this call. So thank you. To be completely transparent, I actually wrote part of this speech on 3 September 2019. I was actually en route from Ramallah in Palestine on my way to Tel Aviv. I was on a trip with 15 other U.S. military veterans, all services, a smattering of different ranks and diverse backgrounds. And while we had all been selected for this educational seminar because we were veteran leaders in our community, during this trip, we learned about deeply personal journeys each of us had experienced in and outside of our military experience. One of us had lost an arm in Iraq. The other had lost his will to live several times and had actually attempted suicide. And one of our members had been accused multiple times of sleeping their way up the rank structure. Another one of us had struggled with alcoholism after struggling home from multiple deployments overseas. One of us had locked themselves in their dorm bathroom to escape rape by their drunk commander. Another qualified for food stamps. But these traumatic events are not what defined us as veterans on this journey. It was actually something much, much more than that. It was a bigger thing. It was a common understanding of a mindset. So let me explain this a little bit. For me, it took a trip halfway across the world with these U.S. military veterans to realize why mindset's so important for veterans in the U.S. And specifically why it took being in Israel, a country where the word veteran is not. You see, as a country surrounded by conflict and in the epicenter of world aggression, military's conscript is not only mandatory for both men and women, but it's part of their culture. Little girls and boys actually grow up wanting and dreaming about being in certain military units to serve their country. Something that we're not really familiar with here in the US. Culturally, the members not served or are not able to serve for one reason or another are actually perceived as a bit outcasted. There's a stigma. The Israeli military has even gone to such lengths as to stand up special units for citizens that normally would not be able to serve due to psychological, mental, and physical handicaps, and find a place and purpose for them to serve. Whether it be packing MREs, supporting a logistics warehouse, or even reading satellite images. You see, autism brings with it this really cool superpower to be able to remember incredible details and changes over time that's very valuable when reviewing intelligence surveys. They have found a place for them to serve so that they too can feel like a contributing member of society and live normally. Being a veteran is being an Israeli. They have the front lines of confounded conflict knocking on their front door on all sides. And this has brought a uniquely cultural mindset that serving and being okay with the idea of fighting and dying for your country is something that largely everyone in Israel understands and accepts. So I want to take this one step further. It gets into this first mindset I want to talk to you about that unites veterans. The following passage is actually something that I wrote on a bus after leaving Ramallah on 3 September. Journal entry for you. Quote, "It's kind of scary to think about how okay I was with the idea of dying while I was in the military, because it felt like that was just part of the job. But it was also something I never shared with my family because I did not want them to hurt from my mindset. A warrior's death was an honor in some way. It was this idea that I died for something bigger than myself. I was dying for my brothers, my sisters, my kin, and my country. In the military, you almost become passive-aggressive suicidal. You don't want to die. You don't hope to die, but you become so okay with the idea of dying that it becomes normal. And psychologically, I don't even think you come back from it. You leave the military, you try to go to school, get a normal job, you try to fit back in and adjust to civilian life once again. You struggle to relate with your family. You struggle to relate with other students. You struggle to relate with your coworkers, your neighbors. You find that the only people that really make sense to you are veterans or your friends that are still in. They understand you. They know the same feeling all too well. The only way to supplement this idea is to find some kind of purpose, but it's rare to find another job that gives you the same level of purpose that you once felt. And I think that's why so many veterans feel so depressed and so suicidal so often. We're lost. We're so extremely lost in this world, searching to fill a void. Sometimes there are voids that we look to be filled by joining the military. And for some, it does for a while. Broken families breed some of the best soldiers I've ever had the privilege of serving beside. I met some of the best people I've ever known while serving our country. But our times in the military all ended at different turning points, and our pain all started again at different times. We longed for a family we found. We bonded over pain, blood, sweat, and genuine love for each other. When we become separated from our family, that search begins again. Some of us never find it, not in the same way we did before. Sure, you see veterans or old friends that you served with every now and again, if you're lucky. But that everyday living and suffering together, that's what you miss and long for once again. When you get out of the service, when I got out of the service, it was a constant struggle for several years to find that sense of belonging. But I found it, and it's all in a mindset. So that's the end of the journal entry. So now I want to go back to that bus ride, chugging along from Ramallah to Tel Aviv. The veterans on that bus are citizens in their communities, defined by the purpose they found after the military service in uniform. Each one of us had been recognized as a veteran leader in our community, a touch point for the pulse of issues related to veterans, voices and actionaries that elected officials in our communities go to when it comes to veterans affairs. In fact, some of us were actually elected officials. Others might be in the near future. However, more than our status as veteran, we all had this mindset of being okay with the idea of dying for our country. And we also still had the mindset that after service, we were still needed, that we still have a purpose. So with less than 6% of the US population being veterans, and only 1% of the population currently serving, this amazing group of individuals I had the privilege of traveling with, we all knew that we were still needed in order to be an advocate for those veterans that were still lost. We have to be there for those that are lost in another mindset, those that are currently struggling for resiliency, those veterans that still long for that everyday living and suffering together in uniform, a constant struggle to find a sense of belonging. They question their career choices and the people they've spent time with. And worst of all, it makes them wonder if they will ever have a purpose worth being alive for again. So hidden behind forced smiles and sad eyes, they have an empty searching for that thing to fill that void. It's isolating, and they struggle to connect because they live in a country where their experiences are not common. Military experience is not a national unifying experience. And being a veteran comes with a culturally perceived stigmas that scare one into opening up about their service and mindset. Some are still hoping they will be lucky enough to be granted a warrior's death. They feel broken. Some keep fighting on, but others keep feeling like they lose more and more each day. I know this mindset because I too struggled with it for the years after my accident in Afghanistan. This team I was traveling with not only knew, understood, and still lived the mindset that veterans have of being so okay with the possibility of dying, but we also know that we have more work to do in this world for our country after the uniform. And we have a lot to learn from a country that knows how to take care of those that had suffered loss and trauma in conflict, and to take those lessons back to our own communities and to make them stronger and more resilient. They even have programs on healing with horses in Israel because they know it works. For our group of 15 U.S. combat veterans hanging out in Israel, we were able to connect to a country, to a people, and feel embraced by a culture that got us, like really, really got us. Except for in Israel, they have such a strong support system nationally and at a family level and a friend level, that the ones that they love don't fall through the cracks like they do here in the U.S. They have a robust healthcare system in place to help them heal physical and emotional traumas from war. They have programs like Healing with Horses. They are surrounded by a country that understands the mindset of what they have been through. They are in it together. They aren't outcasts, and their experience in combat are normalized and not stigmatized. The first night we were in the country, one of the Israeli leaders from our team talked about his experience during a blast accident in his military background. He casually described the experience as, quote, getting punched in the face with a fist of hot air, end quote. When he mentioned this at dinner, I felt like the world stood still for me. That's exactly what it felt like when the same thing happened to me in combat before I lost consciousness. But never had I ever been able to talk to someone I just met, let alone in another country, casually over dinner. If I ever do mention something like a blast injury or what it was like getting shot to a room full of strangers in the US, you could hear a pin drop. And everyone looks at me like I'm a complete oddity, and the super awkward questions start to follow. My favorite is more of a statement rather than a question, and that's, quote, you don't look like a veteran, end quote. Hence, I knew I was about to go through a journey, through an eye-opening experience in a country where probably I could relate to a majority of the population rather than a minority, and they could relate to me. Mind blown. And I was doing so with a unique team of my fellow veterans. We were in this together to learn about a country and a culture that not only accepted this veteran mindset, but really didn't care that we had served, because they had all served too. We were no longer different. We were no longer the exception. That's when I realized the power of a mindset. The mindset that we have accepted and are okay with the idea of dying for something greater than ourselves is what united us on that trip to Israel and with the Israeli people and a nation. It's this mindset that our unique group of US veterans had with a continued sense of purpose after service. Sometimes when you believe in something greater than yourself, rock bottom has a trampoline. For those veterans back at home in the US that still felt lost, disconnected, and struggled to find their purpose, we had found our trampoline, our advocacy, voices, and leadership back in our communities and country as veterans to advocate on behalf of our fellow veterans that couldn't do it for themselves. They are our trampoline. So to my fellow veterans on this call, and I really hope there are other veterans on this call, while it took me a trip halfway around the world to a country where conflict is in your face at every turn to realize why these three mindsets are so critical to understand when it comes to owning the mindset of being a veteran in the US, I hope that after today, you take some time to reflect on the following. Where am I at on this journey as a veteran? Where am I connected? Where am I disconnected? And what are you doing today to make it worthwhile for our lost brethren to wake up and to be needed, to be wanted and loved tomorrow? What are you doing to be that someone that makes someone else look forward to tomorrow? We're unique in this country as a demographic, but we're all in the same subcultural mindset. We've been on a journey that only we can understand. So while you may not surround yourself every day with other veterans or service members, you have a country that's counting on your leadership and your presence to make sure that veterans are not forgotten and that they have a place in our society as productive, purposeful, and loved citizens. So what's your mindset? Thanks. How do you change the look of a veteran? So yeah, that is something. So let's also take this back a little bit further. Both of my parents are veterans. Both of my parents are veterans. That means that my mother is a Vietnam era veteran. And so people may thank my father for his service in the Army, but they never think to thank my mother. And so while the demographics are changing for the military service and more women are serving, thinking back to the Korean War, thinking back to the Vietnam War, even Gulf War, changing that perception. We've all been in different journeys, just like you can't judge a book by its cover. And really, I think the best way to change the public look of a veteran is for veterans to be there. There's this quote by Cecil Richards that I love, and it's, if women don't take time to sit at the table, they're on the menu. So women need to step up, especially women veterans, and be at the table, to be a part of the discussion and to be leaders in their community. Because my mom stepping up, she's a veteran, is what helped me step up to say that I'm a veteran, to help lead for other women veterans. But it's not just for women, it's all demographics. It's no matter what your race is, what your religion is, where you're from. We have a lot of immigrants that come from other countries that serve our nation in uniform. And to assume that everyone's born in Kansas is not correct, you know? And so it's really about telling your story and being there and connecting with other veterans to be united, to change that perception. Another question's being typed. I'm waiting. How do veterans help other veterans get support? I think one of the best ways for other veterans to get support is to realize that there's no one right mold that fits everything, right? So when you start building veteran support networks and programs together, and you start kludging things onto it, like, oh, now we're going to support women veterans. Oh, now we're going to support, you know, children of military, and this. You've got to build it from the ground up, and all your stakeholders have to be involved. And knowing that there's not one solution that fits everyone is so incredibly key. And the more that veterans that have been in unique situations can start to build solutions that work for them, then more people will be able to flock to different solutions that fit for them. So I have a very good friend here in Austin that really found healing through trauma, or healing from his trauma through group exercise. You know, healing with horses. There's group exercises for everyone, but then there's also togetherness and building trust in a community with larger animals. And then there's also ones that are through art. There's others through music. There's some that, you know, part of my therapy actually was through speech pathology, and to tell people that my story, that it took a village and it took a lot of different solutions to get me to where I'm at today. But if veterans aren't building these solutions from the ground up and diversifying, then it's going to be a lot harder for other veterans to get the support that they need that works for them. We're waiting for more questions. I see the type bar going. How have animals played an important role in your life? So I actually grew up on a ranch fiber farm in North Carolina with llamas and goats and alpacas. And I think that animals are important starting from the beginning all the way through, because it holds you accountable. It's something that takes you away from yourself and your own woes and pulls you out. You're responsible for this other animal and their life and their health. And it gets you out of bed in the morning, you know, it gives you a purpose. It may be small, but it gets you in a routine. And for mental health, that's huge. So as a kid, it taught me responsibility, and it humbles you. And it also teaches you, you know, about taking care of something that's greater than you. In my adult life, I've had dogs, to include a service dog. And in my darkest days, that dog was the reason I got out of bed in the morning, reason I showered, the reason I went downstairs to go feed that dog. And it's the little things like that when you start doing these little things, it becomes bigger, becomes coming back to life again. And this dog also really helped me with my anxiety and trust with the world again. If this little dog could trust the world, then maybe I could start to trust it too. All right. Thank you so much. Have a good one, everyone.
Welcome back. I want to thank Mae for taking the time to talk with us today. I really, really, really appreciate, and all of us here at the ranch are honored that you would speak at our virtual fundraising event. With that said, I also wanted to highlight to everyone who is watching us to make sure that you realize that this event was originally planned to be face-to-face. We had planned to do a barbecue at a local brewery to support our veterans program. We had live auctions and silent auctions and raffles, and we were going to sell t-shirts and glasses and all kinds of creative ideas on how to get funds to be generated for our veterans program. And when the pandemic came, we decided, instead of canceling that event, that we would go virtual and continue with our speakers and provide as much content as we could to help get the word out about therapeutic horseback riding and its benefit to veterans. So here we are. We also appreciate you dealing with some of our technical difficulties as we go through. So with that said, it is time for us to do another giveaway. Ariana is holding up. Ariana is giving me the high sign that she is going to pick another one of our folks watching. So here, let me hand the mic over to her.
All right, folks. For those of you that have put stuff in the comments, there's been 2 giveaways today. We're going to do our second giveaway. Here I am in the booth, the booth outside. Isn't my recording setup beautiful? Well, I would like to announce that J.E. Pricer is the winner of our second Kirby Lane gift card. So congratulations to J.E. Pricer. We will be messaging you with more details. So thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead and give this mic back to John so he can update us on the raffle and talk to us about veterans.
I think I put the camera in the right position. Let me see. Are you seeing me? Outstanding. So, and again, just a reminder that our goal here today is to do fundraising. So please, please, please go to our website at www.healingwithhorsesranch.org/raffle. Buy a raffle ticket, make a donation. The last update I had, and I see Davina checking to see, 267 raffle tickets. So please, please, please buy your raffle tickets. Again, I'm standing in front of this amazing ATV. This was donated to us from a family. It was actually the mother's ATV, and you know how families work when their hobbies get old. This ATV spent most of its life sitting in their garage getting dusty. When it was donated, all we had to do was clean it up and replace some filters, and I'm almost sad to see it go, because it is one of the few pieces of equipment here that starts every time. So trust me, you'll have a lot of fun on this ATV, and it's going to be the best $25 you ever spent when you win this ATV, as well as the 2 tickets to ACL. Oh, I'm sorry. The best $100 you ever spent when you buy 5 tickets to get this ATV and the ACL tickets. So with that said, the next thing on our agenda for today is a panel discussion. So Patty is actually going to be online with several of our veterans that are currently in our veterans program, and she will be talking with them, introducing them, and also having them answer any of your questions that you may. So we're working on getting that set up now. I see Ari giving hand signals, getting folks to configure their cameras correctly so that we can make this happen. And I guess I'm supposed to go long. What would you like me to do next, Ari?
Jump on.
Do a dance. I don't think you're going to get that luck. But you know what I might do? And you think Bill Gates had taught me not to do live demos, but I'm actually going to turn the key on this ATV, pull out the choke, and hit the starter button. You ready? Do you guys hear that? Of 250 cc's just waiting for you to jump on this. The reason that we're auctioning or raffling this off is because this is a sports ATV, and the ranch certainly needs a ATV, but we need a utility one that has racks on the front and back so that we can carry hay and feed and fertilizer. This thing is also a little bit too much fun. So I'm seeing folks doing wheelies and doing donuts, and you know, it would be much better in your garage, letting you enjoy all that time with this ATV. Now that I've demonstrated that it runs, I'm going to turn it back off. I'm going to walk over here to Ari and let her take us to whatever she wants us to do next.
All right, we're going to get the veterans online here for our very special veterans panel. We're going to go ahead and go live with the veterans.
Really quick. Yeah. Hopefully you can see me a little bit better now. Okay, we're on. Okay, so Patty here again. Hi, everybody. Again, I want to thank you all for coming and sharing our first live broadcast with you for our fundraiser for our Stars, Stripes, and Stirrups program. I just wanted to share a little bit, and I'll probably cry, and I apologize, about why I wanted to have a veterans program and why I'm so passionate about making this happen. So I am the daughter of a colonel in the Air Force. He retired after 33 years of being in the military. His life was the Air Force. It meant everything to him. To my take on it, to the exclusion of sometimes his family. He would come home from a war or from a service event and share about how interesting it was or what he learned and just a little bit. But from the perspective of the child who was left, that was scared that my dad wouldn't come home, I didn't get how he could be so excited about it. And so I also got to experience, as he was passing away, how he struggled to share what he did. He couldn't share with us anymore because we had shut him down, his kids and his family. And I felt really bad about that. it was challenging moving every 2 or 3 years, whether we needed to or not, because the military took us to a new Air Force base. It meant that I struggled learning how to make friends, and I still kind of struggle with that. And so I'm so honored when people jump on board this crazy wagon that I started and are so passionate about healing with Horses Ranch with me. So my relationship struggled. My education I was struggling with because it was hard to skip one school to another. I always seemed to miss the most important thing that school year. At least that was my take. But despite all of that, I am proud to be called an Air Force brat. I am proud of what my dad did and the service that he provided to help keep America safe. When he retired, I was in 8th grade, and I was able to get my lifelong dream of a horse, and that was Star. I lovingly renamed him because I don't often rename horses, but he was Night Star. He was my knight in shining armor. He was somebody that as a 13-year-old, I could go out to the field and share. He was somebody that I could cry on his shoulder, and he never judged me. I could share my angers, I could share my confusions, my hurts, my pains, and he was there. He also taught me that even though life is sometimes challenging, I still have to take care of things. I still have to take care of somebody else. I had to take care of my horse because he depended upon me. So he taught me, I learned responsibility. I learned how to ask and not demand. I needed to learn about relationships. I learned how to trust and how to be trusted. As an adult, after I had my kids and they were growing up and not needing me anymore, I wanted to be able to give that back to people and share what Star shared with me and taught me. So I have these amazing men and women on the line with us. And I am so truly, truly honored that they are willing to share their stories about where horses led them. I am truly honored because this makes us all very vulnerable. So I have the pleasure to introduce Matt Mckay. He was a Marine Corps veteran. And guys, if you give me just a minute, I'm going to introduce everybody and ask a very good question. And you can share your stories and what you want to say. So Matt Mckay was in the Marine Corps. He is a volunteer at Healing with Horses Ranch and actually came to that way first, but he is also now a participant in our veterans program. He works at the VA in the health service research, and he is also an occupational therapist. He also is a part of the Wounded Warrior Project, and that is one of the ways we fund our veterans program is through the Wounded Warrior Project. So I really want to read out and say thank you to them as well. Yasmin Bedros is a U.S. Army disabled veteran. She is from Boston, Massachusetts, and now lives in and she has been benefiting from equine therapy since 2015. So she started at another program, as did Matt. Heather Group is also online with us, and she is recently retired from the Army. It's in 2019. Yasmin didn't, I'm sorry, Heather Group did not voluntarily retire, should I say, but she has recently been challenged with a condition called Meniere's disease that really affects her balance and equilibrium every day, all day, without stop. So she started as a volunteer when she was still in the military and coming home to be with her husband, who is also a volunteer here. And so anyway, she's going to tell more of her story. But I have had the honor of working with these 3 individuals. We may have another one joining us, another veteran joining us, but I am so honored that you would share your story with us. I so appreciate it. And I'd love for you, if you would, to share what brought you to Healing with Horses Ranch. And Matt, for you, how Belle and Don and Levi and really all of the horses have benefited you. And then, so Matt, if we'll start with you, and then we'll go to Yasmin and then to Heather. That would be great.
All right.
So you're on, Matt.
Okay. So I'm from Shreveport, Louisiana. I need to get out of Shreveport. I wanted something more out of life, and I didn't really feel strongly about any of the military branches, but I just went for what I was challenging. And that's how I ended up in the Marine Corps. I served in, my job was crash fire rescue. And I served 7 months in Iraq, and then where we were like, you know, mortars and rockets nearly every single day. And I also served 6 months on a ship. I was one of the military people that, you know, got married too quick and too young and too early, and my ex-wife had like major depression, and then when, like, you know, we stuck through it and tried to make the best of it. When he bounced out of it, he actually did not care to be married anymore. And so like that ended in a divorce and really devastated me and put me in some of the deepest depression that I've ever been in my life. I worked with, when I started college, I pursued a degree in psychology, and I was able to link with my experiences in Iraq and working with other guys in Iraq, and then also with my wife. I was able to link those experiences, and it really got me interested. Then, like, even while I was in school was when I actually started to experience a lot of anxiety, and I had like chronic painful conditions. So these, like, you know, pain, mental health, and sleep disturbances, all while, you know, trying to pursue a college degree, was it was very challenging. It was tough. It was a hard time. I linked up with the VA and recreational therapy. They got me set up to go to a ranch in like an equine therapy ranch in California, and it was really, really amazing experience getting the interaction with the horses, and you learn. Not only did we learn about the horses, we actually learned a lot about ourselves. Like, you really have to mindful of what you're going on, how that can actually affect your experience with working with the horse. So a story about that is, and this is one that I often reflect on, there was a horse that was named Zen, of all things, named Zen. And he was one that could be the sweetest, calmest horse, and calm. But I could, you know, for every person after work, a day of work, and I carried any of that over to trying to, like, I was trying to, like, you know, everything, it made it a lot more challenging. That was one of the things that I learned a lesson through him, and then I applied that also about my ultimately, when my wife and I decided to live in Austin or whatever, I sought out like more experience with horses and equine therapy. That's how I found Healing with Horses Ranch. I was extremely fortunate to have moved in actually very close to the ranch. And when we purchased the house or whatever, I did not realize how close it was. So that was a very blessing. I was almost in tears when I passed it for the first time and realized how close it was. But the getting involved with the veterans program, I've gotten to work with some of the horses there. Levi is the biggest horse that they have out there at the ranch, and for any of those that have worked with him or been around him, he's also like a giant puppy. But he's one that, you know, he challenges you in different ways. He's big enough to kind of go where he wants, but, you know, keep continually like asking him and being persistent and things like that, instead of just getting frustrated. If you get frustrated with Levi and you try to yank him around and do much of that, he's big enough and he will not have it. So really just from Levi, I've learned more about the persistence and, again, still keeping a cool head. Belle was another horse that I've worked with at Healing with Horses Ranch. I have really enjoyed when I've gotten a chance to ride Belle. She seems to get really anxious around obstacles, but she has a history of, you know, being able to do obstacles and everything. But Patty has kind of taught me ways to give her the chance, like give her the chance to be comfortable around those obstacles, and then she can finally succeed. And relating that to just kind of my kind of life choices and life decisions and how I live my life, I'm one of those, I have to challenge myself. I don't feel like I am really living unless I am challenging myself in one way or another. But with the service-connected anxieties and stuff like that, sometimes those challenges can actually be very aversive. They don't feel good. I lose the pleasure of those challenges because the anxiety can be so crippling. So it becomes super important for me to have the the environment to feel safe and challenged.
Yeah.
And
Okay. So now I'm gonna turn it over to Yasmin for a second. I have a couple questions queued up in my mind, but I want to get everybody on to introduce themselves and share their story a little bit. But I have some questions for you about that. Yasmin, you're
Yes.
up.
Yasmin, I've been living in Austin now for 2.5 years. I originally came from Boston. I'm a U.S. Army vet. My MOS was a chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear specialist. So basically any type of biohazards, I was the go-to. Or any chemical weapons, any like that, that's what we were trained for. I got out in 2011, and after that, I just went straight to work. I didn't deal with anything from the military. I didn't want anything from the Army. I did not leave on good terms. I was honorably discharged and everything, but I did not leave the way I wanted to leave, which created a lot of an animosity for the Army and for my command, and how I felt left high and dry and everything else. So I went into work, and like Matt was talking about, I love that high pressure situations, and that got me into working with Homeland Security. And I worked that for 3.5 years, 4 years. I got burned out, and I settled down right away to work with when I was living in Boston at Massachusetts General Hospital. And I still avoided all of my mental health. Anxiety was building up, depression was building up, PTSD was there, but I really ignored it and avoided it as much as I could. You know, that headstrong military mentality of it's not going to affect me. It's not, it's not me, just acting very ignorant towards myself, but still thinking that I could pull it off without any help. I had a suicide attempt in 2015. I didn't have VA health at the time. I didn't want anything, like I said, from the VA or anything. And I got put into a state facility, and that was a wake-up call, because a lot of the stuff they could not deal with me. From that facility. I spent about 10 days in that facility, and the Boston Red Sox had created a PTSD program called Home Base, and that's how I got connected to equine therapy. And it's been a lifesaver since. I started out at a farm in New Hampshire, and I stayed there for a while up until I moved here for a job. My mental health continued to deteriorate, though, because I could not separate work from a lot of my issues. And I finally got service connected, unemployable through the VA. It was a process to do, but I give it up. I'm also a Wounded Warrior alumni. They helped me tremendously in trying to facilitate my service connection. We had all the proof written down and everything. It was just a matter of having the VA acknowledge and get that going so I could live a comfortable life, but focusing on my mental health, because it was not there for me. It still is not, but it's something that I would love to work again. I don't like living, like this, and I would definitely love to work. And even if it's working on a farm with horses, I don't care. I just need to do something. I just know for now I'm not in a good place to work. So going to see the horses finally through another program for veterans, that's where I met Levi. And Levi, I remember some of the staff at the farm were surprised that Levi just came up to me. And a few other horses came up to me too, and it was like they could feed off my vibe. And that's the one thing I love about horses is they understand your heart. They understand what's going on emotionally. And to me, that's the starking difference between humans and horses. They're so intuitive, and they can just they just feed off you, and I love that. And I then started doing one-on-one sessions before I got into a severe car accident in December with Oreo. And Oreo is a me. She's a stubborn little she's a stubborn little mule. But she is it literally just showed a light to me that it was like, girl, you can get really bad sometimes, and this horse is mimicking you. So it's awesome to see these personalities and all these horses. And the current one now that I'm working with in the veterans program is Belle. And Belle is very much, she kind of feels like an outcast, but doesn't really know how to do certain horse things. And sometimes I think I felt that, and I think she felt that in me, where you sometimes feel out of place. I remember I took, I think it was Oreo or another mini horse with me, and Belle followed me because I didn't pick her. And everyone that was there noticed that Belle got upset, and it was nothing against her, but she didn't want to come with me that day. I'm not going to force her. She doesn't want to do anything. But the minute I picked someone else, it showed me that Belle felt a connection with me just as much as I felt a connection towards her.
Yeah. Thanks, Yasmin. Thanks for sharing all that with all of us. I really do appreciate it. I have a couple questions for you too, but
okay.
I'm going to go on to Heather next. Right. So Heather, if you wouldn't mind sharing a little bit about your story and how horses have helped you, or any of the horses have helped you learn about yourself. You are on.
So, as Patty already mentioned, I medically retired in October 2019. But I joined the Army in 2011. I went to basic in February, went to OCS in September. And so I was actually the officer of the group, and I was a logistics officer throughout my time in the military. So I made sure that everybody had what they needed when they needed to get their job done. In March, late March of 2018, I was diagnosed with what's called Meniere's disease. Basically, it is an inner ear condition that has left me partially deaf on my right side, and I have a constant ringing in that ear, and it has also left me with a balance disorder. So those of you who have seen me at the ranch, you know that I basically look like I am drunk all the time. I don't know how to walk in a straight line because I'm just that off balance all the time. The vertigo attack that I had on May 11th of 2018 left me in this position where I basically feel like I'm riding a roller coaster all the time. Some people will describe it as feeling like they're kind of on a boat with a boat swaying sensation. For me, it feels more like a roller coaster, a constant roller coaster, swaying, flipping, moving side to side, front to back. There'll be times when I'm having a conversation with somebody where I'm quote unquote standing still, and the next thing you know, I just kind of take off. I'm walking to the side or to the back, and I'm like, sorry, I will be back, I promise. I'm not intentionally walking away from you. With that, a constant bedfellow was also nausea. So there are times when, we're not supposed to really be at the ranch. You'll see me chomping on gum, trying to make sure that I don't get sick to my stomach. Bailey is actually one of my favorite horses there. She's the one I work with the most. I have also worked a little bit with Dude. So they are probably two of my favorite horses. And again, it comes back to both what Yasmin and Matt have talked about is having that challenge. I doubt there's a single veteran you're going to talk to that doesn't love a challenge. Dude, I love him because he is probably one of the biggest challenges I've ever faced at the ranch. He has a tendency to turn into a plow horse. He sees an open gate and he wants to go through that open gate. It doesn't matter who's standing between him and that open gate. He's going to go through it. And I just happened to one day be that individual. And he just came right at me and he spun me around. I'm like, well, that was great because I was already spinning in my head and now I really am spinning and I don't know what to do. So when Patty found out that had happened and that had increased my anxiety specifically with Dude, she's like, that's great. You're going to work with Dude. I was like, oh, that's great. Because as Yasmin has already so efficiently pointed out, horses are crazy intuitive. And he noticed immediately that I was very anxious about working with him because I was afraid he was going to run me over again and make me crazy busy out of my mind. And the moment Patty put us both in that stall, you could tell that I wasn't very comfortable being in there, and he doesn't like being in a stall. So both of our tensions were running high, and it got to be a very interesting situation very quick. But Patty was able to come in and kind of diffuse the situation for us. And it has got to the point where between Dude and myself, if we're out in an open space, he and I work amazingly together. Again, you kind of put us in a stall where he already doesn't like to be, and he can sense my instability. He's like, yeah, maybe you're not my favorite person to be in a stall with, but if I'm having a slightly less unstable day, you put me in the stall with him. He's like, okay, we're a little bit better today. But Bailey, I work mostly with Bailey, and she has done so much for me there at the ranch. She understands my instability probably better than any of the other horses there. She is the one that's known to be kind of the princess horse. She has a very much so of a princess mentality. She also has a very big personal space bubble. And she doesn't like for a lot of people to get into that personal space. But interestingly, she kind of makes an exception for me, especially on days when I'm having a really, really bad day. If while I'm grooming her, and we've seen this in the veterans program once or twice, where if we're having bad weather and we're doing groundwork, we have a metal roof over the arena, and the rain hitting the metal roof will actually have a really bad impact on my dizziness because the way the sound interacts. Does my dizziness kick up really bad? She actually will lean into me and allow me to brace myself on her, and she doesn't do that for a lot of people. But it goes back to that, her being so in tuned and intuitive to what's going on, and her ability just to read what's going on with the situation and wanting to take care of me, which is crazy, right? Because typically when I go to the ranch, I'm such an animal person that I'm like, hey, animal, I just want to take care of you. I want you to know that you're safe with me and that I've got your back. But these horses, when they can start to sense what's going on with us and they know what our needs are, they want to reciprocate that and give that back to us. So it's, I've been hearing what Yasmin and have both been talking about, and their stories, while very different from mine, they resonate so deeply with me because I'm like, there are different aspects of it I completely understand. wanting to be that person that does, right? But then at the same time, having to become the person that receives rather than being the person that does all the time. And the Veterans Program has become kind of that place where we can come in and be safe enough to where we can be the person that receives, but then also when the time is right, we can be that person who turns around and does for our veteran buddies, right? The program is designed in such a way that is veterans helping veterans. So if Matt needs something, because he and I are usually in the same program together, if Matt needs something, I can be there to be his buddy and help him out with his horse. I try to come out and volunteer during the session that Yasmin's a part of. So if Yasmin needs something, I can be there and volunteer to help her out as well. It's designed so that we can be there to build that community of veterans to say, hey, we may no longer be in the service, but I've still got your six. I'm still there for you. Whatever you're dealing with mentally, whatever you're dealing with emotionally, and to whatever extent, whatever you're dealing with physically, help you. If you can help me, we're there. We're still in the community.
Thank you so much, Heather. So I have questions for you too, and I'll probably forget them all and go off on my own, so that's okay too. But I just wanted to share a little bit about Dude, because Dude needs honesty. He does not like incongruence. And I think one of the things that Heather would hate the most about Dude, although she loves him, I know that, is that when I pointed that out to her, she was like, no, I'm fine. I'm good. I got this all together. And I was like, okay, that's nice. The next week she came in and said, you know what? You were right. And so I think it's really cool when horses, they are my truth serum. I don't need to know what or why or how, really. The horses need us. They need us to be honest with ourselves, which is the huge part, because we like to try and fake it till we make it. And yeah, no, you don't. You need to be honest with yourself so that you can start that healing. And that's where the horses are so loud in their communication. So Matt, I had one question. Yasmin, you can chime in on this because you both have kind of dealt with it with Belle, and how one, maybe not how it made you feel, because I am not a mental health counselor. I am a therapeutic riding instructor. Although we do have a mental health counselor here. It's not really a part of the program because I think most of these guys have had so much talk therapy that they just want to get present or need to learn how to get present so that they can work on some of their issues. But that night when I believe that you started with a riding on Belle and she would not go over the plywood. She couldn't go over the plywood. What did it take from you? What did it make you feel? What did you need to do for Belle to make her feel safe?
So for what I needed to do was stop trying to force it and kind of ask in, gentle ways. And I think the main thing was giving her the time that she needed to feel comfortable around that obstacle. I think that was like the critical thing, was just taking it slower, not trying to rush it, give her time to feel comfortable, and then, all right, now let's both challenge ourselves to do it. So for me, challenging myself to like say, okay, I don't have to be all like super, you know, forceful with this, because there's no way in the world that I'm going to just like command this horse to go over this obstacle if she doesn't want to. And so taking the time and getting her to comfortable with it, and then gently asking again once she felt comfortable. And I mean, she walked over it several times before the night was done. So.
Yasmin, you're next, but Matt, just in thinking about it, because that's what I make everybody do, I'm sorry. Did it help you in any ways with your personal relationships when you got home? Do you ever think about what Belle taught you that night? But you don't have to answer right now. Yasmin, you're up.
So with Belle, I've noticed that whenever you get on a horse, you have to portray that sort of leadership. And it was the first time I've been on a horse since I moved to Austin. So it was getting her to trust me and trusting her. So once I realized that she was feeding off my anxiety of being on the horse for the first time, it was like this silent conversation with each other of like, I got you, do you got me? Because let's rock this if we can do this, because I've done this before and I know you have too. I trust you, do you trust me? And it was just putting that trust with her. And, you know, like every other veterans, I'm sure we all have our own trust issues with, you know, whether it was in the military with our leadership, with our other battle buddies, you know, not saying every battle buddy has malice towards you, but there is always that certain, you know, can I trust you with my life? There's always that one. And it's always that one that you end up getting that it tears you down inside. So I had to assure Belle that I'm here for you and you can trust me. And I took that home with me, realizing that I have to have trust in other people and for them to trust me as well.
Well, Matt, do you want to share how that impacted you at home or not? And
I can a little bit. I mean, it definitely, like giving her the time and you know, me keeping a cool head and not trying to force it is something that I go through with my wife. If she gets upset with anything or if something doesn't go just right, it definitely kind of, it translates over like that. Like I have to give her the time to kind of calm down, let her process things in her own way. And if I try to force it, it's not going to go very well.
Thanks, Matt. And absolutely, yeah. And hopefully you guys have also learned slowing down is okay too. And even no is an okay answer as long as you're understanding what your horse is saying no about. The night that Matt was able to get her to go over the bridge, kind of floored me because he took that deep breath, he slowed it down really slow and took tiny steps towards doing it, which is what Belle needed at the time. And Matt was able to recognize that. And I hope that you can take that home and recognize that at home too, because sometimes we just have to slow down. And then with Bailey or Jude, Heather, were you able to take anything home from, for instance, the dude experience where he did get anxious with you, and it was confusing that he got anxious because you thought that wanting to take care of him was enough, but he needed more?
So you try to being an officer, and there's so much you try to do as an officer. And Yasmin kind of talked about this a little bit with leadership. When she got out of the military, she kind of had some animosity with her leadership. And you have good leaders and you have bad leaders, right? And I always wanted to be what my soldiers could look at and say, she was a good leader. She cared for us. She took care of us. She had our back. I always knew that if I had a problem, I could go to her and she would take care of me. Because in my opinion, that's what soldiers deserve. If I take care of my soldiers, then my soldiers are going to take care of me, right? The soldier's creed is that I will never quit. I will never leave a fallen soldier. You know, I will always place the mission first, right? So for me as a good leader, if I'm taking care of my soldiers, then they're always going to place that mission first, and they're going to succeed in that mission because they're going to want to take care of me because I've taken care of them, right? And so for me, a lot of times I would put myself on the back burner. I wouldn't take care of myself when I was sick or if I was hurt. I was the last person I would think of because I was always trying to take care of my soldiers. And maybe once or twice I would have a superior tell me, hey, look, you've got to take care of yourself if you're ever going to be able to take care of yourself. You know, how are you going to take care of your soldiers if you're sick? But very rarely did I actually have any good leaders over me that would say, hey, look, you really do need to take care of yourself too. And unfortunately, I feel like that has carried over into civilian life as well. And I feel like I kind of see that come to the ranch sometimes when I'm trying to connect with the horses. I forget to connect with what I really am what's going on with me emotionally and physically and emotionally. And to be real with the horses about what's going on with me and doing that self-check with me, because all I care about is taking, and dude specifically will pick up on that because he'll call you like so fast, right? He'll be like, no, you're not here. You think you're here, but you're not here. Like, you're talking to me about me, and like you're trying to be all focused on me and loving me and all that, which is cool because I love the fact that you're focused on me, but you're not here. And there was this one very short moment in time with dude where I mean, it was like 5 seconds maybe where I was completely real and honest and in the moment with him. And I was like, you know what? Everything is okay. And I actually said it out loud verbally. It's like, you know what? Everything's okay. And he settled down completely and he walked over to me like nose to chest and we were good for 5 seconds. And then something changed and we were right back to, nope, I'm going to distance myself. And I was like, how do we get back to where we were for that 5 seconds? But it's that remembering that there has to be a point where I have to take care of me in order to take care of others.
Yep. Guys, I need to throw it back back to Ariana now, but I, again, just wanted to let you know how honored I am that you would share and be this vulnerable with me and the whole world of, I don't know how many people are watching us. But I am truly honored. Thank you for loving Healing with Horses Ranch, loving the horses here, wanting to help the ranch and it grow and have this program grow. And I hope everybody out there in cyber world that is with us right now is hearing that passion and seeing how much the horses are benefiting you and are willing to make a donation and buy raffle tickets and help out, because unfortunately horses are a very expensive overhead, and even in this pandemic where we're down 75% of our clientele, they still want to eat and all of that. So again, Ariana is going to come on. I think we are on a different call network, but so if you want to stay on and chit chat, we can. But Ariana, it's all yours.
Thank you, Patty. I want to thank everybody so much for watching this presentation by Healing with Horses Ranch. We're so honored to have you come out from the comfort of your home and join us for our Stars, Stripes, and Stirrups presentation. If you felt this presentation had low video quality, bad transitions, or any other video quality concern, please donate to healingwithhorsesranch.org so that we can improve our ability to live stream and do more live streaming fundraisers. If you are going to leave a comment about the video quality or our ability to do live streaming, we'd love to hear from you. I will be sure to mention whatever you suggest to our staff, as well as prompt you to give to these wonderful services. To be able to do this has been incredible. We were very concerned at the start of COVID-19 that we would not be able to continue services, or that we would be able to continue the funding for these services in our community. I know that it's been said multiple times, but veterans ride free here at Healing with Horses Ranch. They will always ride free here at Healing with Horses Ranch. So whatever you can give, whenever you can give, it's so very important. I want to thank some very, very, very special givers. First, I would like to say a very special thank you to Sun State Equipment Foundation. Thank you so much for being a grantor of Healing with Horses Ranch. We really, really, really appreciate it. Sun State Equipment Rental has given us $6,000 for our veterans program. So we want to thank them and their generosity and their commitment to supporting veterans programs. Next, I would like to thank C3 Presents. They are the sponsor of the ACL Weekend 2 Music Festival passes. So thank you so much, C3 Presents. I know it must be hard to be a music agency in the time of COVID-19, so your generosity goes that much farther for us here at Healing with Horses Ranch. Thank you. I also want to thank Kim Brown, the donor of our ATV. I want to thank you for your commitment to this ranch as a donor, as a volunteer. You have been wonderful, and we really appreciate it. Finally, I would like to thank every single person that's bought in a raffle ticket. I'd like to thank every single person that's given a donation in the name of the Veterans Program. Unfortunately, we have so many supporters, I cannot not have enough time to list all of their names. But I want to thank you personally for being an epic supporter. I want to thank our board for just never giving up on us, giving us all the tools and ability to be creative, to innovate, and make changes when the worst hits. And we are innovative here. We are resilient here, and that is a lot to attribute to our board. So thank you to our board of directors. Finally, I want to thank all the veterans that have been a part of our veterans program and the veterans that came together to plan the veterans program back in 2019. So thank you all. Finally, I'm going to end this with our closing presentation. If you would like to get involved in any way, please go to our website at www.healingwithhorsesranch.org. There you can find more information about our programs, learn how to volunteer, and of course, donate. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate all of you watching. You have a wonderful Armed Forces Day.
Thank you for watching Stars, Stripes, and Stirrups. We really enjoyed having you. Subscribe to our channel, Healing with Horses Ranch, on YouTube. Learn more about our programs at healingwithhorsesranch.org. You can learn how to get involved and donate there. This concludes our broadcast. Thank you for your participation.